students. Today in this video, we are going to do the first half of the lesson 3.3, and we are going to learn about a very famous personality named Stephen Hawking. We will also learn his important contributions in the field of cosmology. I hope you enjoy the lesson. Stephen Hawking was born on 8th of January 1942 and he died on 14th March 2018, just 2 years before. He is an English theoretical physicist, cosmologist, author, and director of research at the Center of Theoretical Cosmology within the Cambridge University. Hawking was the first to set out a theory of cosmology explained by a union of the general theory of relativity and quantum machines. Hawking is an honorary fellow of the Royal Society of Arts (FRSA), a lifetime member of the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, and a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian award in the US. This lesson gives us an insight about the great scientist, his life, and his works. Let us start the lesson, page number 115. From Stephen Hawking till more than 40 languages. Let us read. Stephen Hawking, born on January 8, 1942, is a British scientist, professor, and author who has done groundbreaking work in physics and cosmology, and whose books have helped to make science accessible to everyone. At the age of 21, while studying cosmology at the University of Cambridge, he was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis (ALS). Part of his life story was depicted in the 2014 film The Theory of Everything. Over the years, Stephen Hawking has written or co-written a total of 15 books. A few of the most noteworthy include: in 1988, Hawking catapulted to international prominence with the publication of A Brief History of Time. The short, informative book became an account of cosmology for the masses and offered an overview of space and time, the existence of God, and the future. The work was an instant success, spending more than 4 years atop the London Study Times bestseller list. Since its publication, it has sold millions of copies worldwide and been translated into more than 40 languages. Okay, this passage explains about who Stephen Hawking was and the initial works that he did. Okay, he, as mentioned earlier, was born on 8th January 1942, a British scientist, professor, and author, and all the books that he has written, we will be mentioning, or we will be doing some understanding about some books here in this lesson. So this person, okay, he was a scientist and he himself was studying about physics, okay, and a lot of innovative studies he did in the fields of physics and cosmology. Okay, cosmology is, the meaning is already explained in the text, the science of the origin and development of the universe, or in other words we can say the study of universe, the origin of how the universe came into being, okay, how is everything formed in the universe. Okay, that study of the universe is known as cosmology, and he has done a groundbreaking study of the study in this field. Groundbreaking is innovative study in this field. But at the age of 21, while studying cosmology at the University of Cambridge, he was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, very famously known as ALS. Now let us understand what this disease is. You can see in this image, in the second picture that is given, that in the normal nerve cell you can see all the muscles, they contract, they are intact, they are in proper condition. But when a person is affected by ALS, okay, his nervous system becomes completely weak, okay, and that is the reason why that person becomes completely weak, and he's not able to function well. All his muscles are unable to contract. That's why you can see in the image how Stephen Hawking himself was not able to move, not able to walk, because his muscles were not able to contract. Part of his life story was depicted in the 2014 film The Theory of Everything, and this film not only talks about his personal life but his work also, and about his diseases, and everything is mentioned in this movie, and it's a very beautiful movie that is based on the life of Stephen Hawking. You can watch it whenever you get time to. Over the years he has written or co-written. Co-written is, initially he was writing his books on his own, but later on, because he was not able to write anything or he was not able to work on his own, he took help of other people or his associates, and they helped him, that is co-writing, and with their help he has written up to 15 books, and all of these books are very famous and very useful also in terms of cosmology and in terms of research and the studies related to it. Okay, in 1988 he catapulted to international prominence with the publication of A Brief History of Time. Catapulted is launched. Okay, he gave a new idea through his book A Brief History of Time, and this book, okay, became so famous that it also became the best seller on the list of London Sunday Times. Okay, it became the best seller, and it has sold millions of copies worldwide, and it is translated into more than 40 languages. And this book shortly gives us an information or an account of cosmology for the masses, and offered an overview of the space and time, the existence of God and future. Okay, all these points were explained in detail in this book. Let us move ahead to the second passage, page number 115, from A Brief History of Time till page number 116, Planets in the Future. Let me read. A Brief History of Time also wasn't as easy to understand as some had hoped. So in 2001, Hawking followed up his book with The Universe in a Nutshell, which offered a more illustrated guide to cosmology's big theories. In 2005, Hawking authored the even more accessible A Briefer History of Time, which further simplified the original work's core concepts and touched upon the newest developments in the field like string theory. Together, these three books, along with Hawking's own research and papers, articulate the physicist's personal search for science's holy grail, a single unifying theory that can combine cosmology, the study of the big, with quantum mechanics, the study of the small, to explain how the universe began. It's this kind of ambitious thinking that has allowed Hawking, who claims he can think in 11 dimensions, to lay out some big possibilities for humankind. He is convinced that time travel is possible and that humans may indeed colonize other planets in the future. In the first passage, we read that Stephen Hawking's first book, The Brief History of Time, became very famous and it became top seller and millions of copies were sold, and worldwide it was read or written in more than 40 languages. But it was not very easy to be understood. Okay, the people found it very complicated, and the theories or the concepts were very complex, and that is the reason why Stephen Hawking in 2001 had to follow up his book and write another book, that is The Universe in a Nutshell. Okay, and in this book he illustrated or clarified the concepts which were written in his previous book and tried to explain it into a simple language. The cosmology's big theories that he had put in the first book were explained in a nutshell, or in short they were explained. Again in 2005, he authored or he wrote another more accessible book, that is A Briefer History of Time. In this book also he went into even deeper details of the core concepts. Core is the central or the basic concepts which were put forth in the first book. The same concepts he touched upon, and the new concept that he introduced in this book was the string theory. Now, the string theory is a theory about gravity and how gravity works on small or tiny objects, how it keeps the universe or the world connected. Gravity plays a very important role, and all the things related to gravity were explained in this string theory. Together, all these three books that he wrote, The Brief History of Time, The Universe in a Nutshell, and The Briefer History of Time, all these three books and the research papers and whatever research that Stephen Hawking did in this course of time, it articulated his own personal research for Holy Grail. Now, what is Holy Grail? Here it means a thing which is eagerly pursued or sought after. Many scientists or many people, they have doubts regarding the questions related to universe and the origin and gravity and everything, but the books written by Stephen Hawking were answer to all these questions. And it also was a uh, study that combined cosmology, the study of big matters, with quantum mechanics. Quantum is the study of small things. Okay, in the string theory, he spoke about small things which were connected by gravity. Stephen Hawking also claims that he can think in 11 dimensions. We have heard about 3D, 4D, 5D, okay, 6D also, but Stephen Hawking believed that he can think in 11 dimensions. So clever he was and so sharp was his thinking ability, okay, to lay out some big possibilities for humankind. He was always eager and always wanting to write more theories, and he was also convinced that time travel is possible and that humans may indeed colonize other planets in the future. Colonizers, they would go to the other planets and there they would establish their settlements and they would colonize. But he also said that time travel is possible, but it is not practical, because if everybody starts doing it, then it will be everything will be in a chaos. So he believed that time travel is possible, but he himself said that it is not practical. Now let us read the third passage, page number 116, from in September 2010 till page number 17. Hawking said, let us read. In September 2010, Hawking spoke against the idea that God could have created the universe in his book, The Grand Design. Hawking previously argued that belief in a creator could be compatible with modern scientific theories. His new work, however, concluded that the Big Bang was the inevitable consequence of the laws of physics and nothing more. Because there is a law such as gravity, the universe can and will create itself from nothing. Hawking said, spontaneous creation is the reason there is something rather than nothing, why the universe exists, why we exist. The Grand Design was Hawking's first major publication in almost a decade. Within his new work, Hawking set out to challenge Sir Isaac Newton's belief that the universe had to have been designed by God, simply because it could not have been born from chaos. It is not necessary to invoke God to light the blue torch paper and set the universe going, Hawking said. The third passage talks about how the universe was formed, and according to Stephen Hawking, what is the origin and what is the reason behind it. According to the religious beliefs, different religion always teach, and all the religious scripts, they say that the universe is created by God. God is the creator. However, Stephen Hawking dared to challenge this concept or idea, and he believed that, and this was put forth in his book, The Grand Design. Okay, and he believed that there is no need of a creator or a god. Okay, and that he could prove with the help of modern scientific theories, and he would explain this with a theory named the Big Bang. In this Big Bang theory, he believed that physics played a very important role in the formation of the universe, and also because there is gravity in existence, he believed that the universe can and will create itself from nothing. Okay, so he did not believe that God is the creator, or God is behind the creation of the universe. Also, he said spontaneous creation is the reason there is something rather than nothing, why the universe exists, why we exist. Okay, in the Big Bang theory, he believed that everything came out of nothing. Okay, it just happened. There was just a big bang, and the whole universe came into being. Is what Stephen Hawking put forth in his theory, the Big Bang. Later, Stephen Hawking he also challenged Sir Isaac Newton's belief that the universe had to have been designed by God. Okay, Isaac Newton believed that even if there is a big bang, there has to be somebody who should let this happen. Okay, there should be some force behind it, or there has to be something or somebody who will trigger this big bang, and then the universe will come into being. So Sir Isaac Newton's belief was that there has to be a big bang designed by God, simply because it could not have been born from chaos. But to this also, Stephen Hawking is saying that it is not necessary to invoke God to light the blue torch paper and set the universe going. Okay, where he's saying that it is not necessary that God should be invoked or called upon. Okay, to just light the torch paper. Okay, it can happen. It just happens with a bang, and that is how the universe has formed itself. Okay, so in this all the three passages that we have done so far, Stephen Hawking is putting forth new theories about creation. He's putting forth new theories about gravity, and his books written by him were getting a lot of importance from the people, because they were talking about something that uh, every person wanted an answer to. Okay, so his books were also very helpful in that field. Here are a few exercise questions. Question number 1. Complete the following table. Here are some years mentioned and the events or activities that took place in that particular year. Read the passage carefully and you will understand which event took place in which year. Okay, the first is 1942. Second event mentioned is catapulted to international prominence. Third question, year is 2001. And fourth question, the activity or event is a briefer history of time. Okay, these are the works or activities of Stephen Hawking and the years mentioned there. You read the passage carefully and you will be able to identify. Question number 2. Do you agree or disagree with the following statements? Justify your stand or answer by quoting a line from the text. This is kind of true or false, where you have to mention the reason for your answer. Okay, that can be done by reading the passage and picking up the proper statement from the passage. First one is Stephen Hawking was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Second is Hawking has written or co-written more than 25 books. Both the statements are there in the passage. Read it clearly and then give reasons to your answer. Question number 3. What is Hawking convinced of? This you can see in the second passage. He's talking about a skill or an ability of himself, okay, and that he is convinced of. Okay, read that part and you will know the answer. Question number 4. Why did Hawking follow up his book with the universe in a nutshell? Okay, there is a reason why he had to follow up or why he had to write another book. Okay, after he wrote the book, The History of Time, he had to write another book. The reason you have to mention in this answer. Question number 5. Explain how the life of Stephen Hawking proves the proverb every cloud has a silver line. This is a personal response question from the life of Stephen Hawking, or so far in this lesson whatever you learn from him. Okay, you have to understand that why his life is suitable to this proverb every cloud has a silver lining. Question number 6. Fill in the blanks with the proper form of the verbs as per the subject. Okay, read the sentences carefully. First one, everyone dash mistakes. Okay, the options are make and makes. Your answer will depend on the subject, whether it is singular or plural. Okay, this applies to all the questions. Second, that news dash published today. Options are is, are. Third, 8 lakh rupees dash a big amount. Options are was and were. Fourth one, the committee dash approved of it. Options are has or have. And the last is the cost of all the goods dash risen. Options are has and have. Okay, once again I'm telling you all, you pay attention to the subject of the sentence, whether it is in singular or plural form. Only then you will be able to pick up the right form of the verb. With this, we finish with the first half of the lesson. The second part will be continued in the second video. Thank you.